Stugotz, there was a lot of fun basketball played this weekend. Coast to coast, buzzer beaters, almost buzzer beaters, ridiculousness across basketball. But I don't know that we had anything more ridiculous than the double overtime Clippers-Sacramento Kings game that resulted in the Kings winning 176-175, and the Kings now have the single greatest offensive rating in the history of people dribbling basketballs.
How?
Mike Schur has been telling us for months now, pay attention to the Kings. He is an intern here, though, and no one listens to him. He wastes our time by opening baseball cards here and on the podcast that he does with Joe Posnanski. Do you want to take a victory lap about your being at the Sacramento Kings earlier than the rest of us?
No, it's not a victory lap. I just want to re-encourage people to pay attention to this team. Here's the best. This is not the stat of the day. Here's the best stat from that game. The high scorer in the entire game was Malik Monk, who chipped in 45 points. He didn't start the game. He came off the bench and played 41 minutes and hit 6 3-pointers and had 45 points, and he was the highest scoring play. He outscored Kawhi Leonard. Every single person on the team can shoot. Every single person is exciting. Their offense is so fun to watch. And I just want to, I hope this woke people up. If you won't listen to me, listen to your ears and eyes when you watch them score 176 points against the Clippers.
Every now and again, though, Malik Monk, not that game, but he'll have a game. He'll have a game, Malik Monk.
Yeah. Yes, he will.
Guys
he has them fairly frequently.
Guys who have had a game, I feel like there are more of them ever now. I think throughout the sport, you've got guys who will have a game.
Dame had a game last night, didn't he?
Yeah, but he has 71. A game every night. I'm saying every now and then you wake up, you check out the box scores, and there's Malik Monk with 45 points and 6 threes, hey,
Stugotz, you know who you could enjoy if you got on board the Sacramento Kings bandwagon? Matthew Dellavedova is a king.
Delly.
Let's do the stat of the day, please. The actual stat of the day, not the Kings stat of the day.
Stat of the day, stat of the day. It is your stat of the day. Stat of the day, stat of the day. It is your stat of the day. Stat of the day, stat of the day. It is your stat of the day. Stat of the day, stat of the day. It is your stat of the day.
Thank you to whoever turned on original sound so I could hear the music today. Folks, according to OptaStats, entering this weekend, AP Top 25 basketball teams were a combined 1,234-0 over the last 25 years when leading by 23 or more points at halftime. That record, sadly, is now 1,234-1 after the Florida State Seminoles came back to beat the number 13 University of Miami basketball team.
I thought that you wanted to rip Miami Heat's professional basketball in the age and era of Sacramento Kings basketball. I thought that your frustration watching the Heat this weekend, Stugotz, Jimmy Butler was 6 for 8 from the field and 16 of 20 from the line. The Miami Heat are going the other way on fun, aesthetically beautiful basketball. They're just drag you into the mud, try to elbow you. But I thought you wanted us to avoid Heat basketball stuff today so that you could come on with your big stat. It's UM basketball. We already gave that stat earlier.
You did?
You're very upset.
We had Coach L on.
Yeah.
It's okay. I have a competing
stat of the day.
I'm sorry. I texted you. Let me go ahead and read this. Let's see. Here's a text to Dan and Chris.
I read it as Miami
from
Heat
last
basketball.
Night. Don't talk about Miami basketball before I show up.
I thought you meant Heat basketball.
We had their coach on.
All we did for an hour was Miami Hurricanes basketball.
Well, actually, that's fine. I don't mind it because Mike has been mad dogging me through the camera for the last 2 minutes, and I've gotten some really good screenshots.
Well, we can still win the ACC on Saturday. or at least a share of it.
Mike left the game because he was so convinced they were going to win, and he's telling us, trying to convince us.
Stop making it that. I had to drive to West Palm to watch my soccer team that was also kicking off at a similar time. They won,
Jimmy
by the
Butler,
way.
That Jimmy Butler stat line was the grossest thing of the weekend. That was so gross.
Oh, dude.
He took eight shots, had 28 points, didn't hit a three.
No, I watched 3 seconds of their Bucks game with Kevin Love out on the court, and I'm like, oh, this defense is looking exactly like how I feared. He's just not going to close out. I don't know how they can play that solid defense with him. It was a weird signing, man. A weird signing.
Yeah.
What happened to he fits perfectly
he does
with...
fit offensively, but defensively he doesn't fit what they're doing.
He doesn't play Cleveland. He didn't play for Cleveland because he can't switch off.
Right. I don't know why we thought we could get him. Oh, wait, maybe it's that culture thing that we always do. Maybe that's why we...
Yeah.
We did need some
It was Spo did say he's a perfect fit for the culture. That actually was quoted in his first game.
Well, everyone they sign is until they do horribly, and then they were a cancer to the team or not a good fit or whatever.
All this is accurate.
You've given up? Jessica, do you have a better stat of the day, a stat of the day that we haven't actually already done?
I do. And I know we haven't done it because it's about women's basketball. Caitlin Clark scored or assisted on 56 of Iowa's 86 points on Sunday, including 30 of 40 first-half points. That's from ESPN Stats and Info. One of the most exciting college hoops games of the weekend against the number 2 team in the country, Indiana. Mike Schur, not sure if you watched, but it was exhilarating.
That was maybe the most exciting game. Of all of the buzzer beaters, that's the craziest one because there's one person on the court who's getting that shot off, and somehow they still got her the ball, and she still launched, moving horizontally to the basket, launched a 32-footer and drained it. She's amazing, man. She's the best.
I think she's going to be this year's National Player of the Year. I think she was already probably going to win it, but that was it.
That kind of seals it. Doing that against the number 2 ranked team is kind of undeniable.
How did shooting get so good? How does shooting?
Did you see both Embiid's crazy 70-footer that didn't count?
Yeah.
Yes, that was nuts.
It was
Embiid
like a laser
that, right?
beam.
Fraction of a second,
Embiid makes the greatest buzzer beaters that are actually not beating the buzzer.
It's the greatest shot that hasn't counted in NBA history by far.
It might be. And then
Yes.
Paul George last night did essentially the same thing from 60 feet instead of 70 feet. It's bananas.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to pay a little bit more attention to the Nuggets. I'm spoon feeding myself this, and that game was a little nuts with the Los Angeles Clippers. Again, why did they bring in Russell Westbrook? I don't understand that one.
I watched that game last night. His arms.
Starting him.
Jokic's arms. That's a thing, huh?
His arms.
You haven't been watching?
I wake up every morning to dozens of tweets that are just retweet this every time Jokic's arms are bleeding.
Always bleeding. Mike,
Someone sent me a still. It was pregame. I think he cut his arms taking off his warm-up jacket.
He had 40, 17, and 10. I mean,
Mike,
I don't take him seriously still, though.
he's won 2 MVPs, basically
win a
average.
championship.
Okay, there it is. Mike, the pitch clock in baseball created some real chaos this weekend, and I'm just going to say it. The Latin guys aren't going to be able to do this. They like to fidget too much with their gloves and their stuff. They're not going to be able to. I believe that this clock is going to adversely affect the Latin guys.
That's racist. You're a racist for saying that.
I know.
I think it'll be fine. Look, they'll all. That's why they're doing it in spring training. There's gonna be a little bit of gears grinding stuff that happens. There's gonna be some mistakes made. The Red Sox Braves game literally ended on a forced called third strike because the Braves hitter didn't get set. That's fine. If you look at what happened in the minors when they instituted these rules, it was a little rough for the first 2 months, and then everyone adjusted, and the fan experience is a billion times better. I don't know this is going to save baseball, but everyone will adjust. It will all be fine. They will figure it out. And the average length of game is 2 hours and 35 minutes so far in spring training. This is going to make a huge difference for people in terms of how they actually watch the game. It's much more action. It's much faster paced. It feels like an NBA game. It's close as baseball can feel to an NBA game. So don't worry. Everybody will figure it out. They're professionals.
It's smart, though. This sport resists change like this. You say they're professionals, they'll figure it out, and I've been thinking they'll figure it out for the last few years. They're just actually calling it now. They're actually enforcing it, and this sport doesn't make changes like this. This is a substantive change, but they have to in the modern age. They have to do something to click with young people.
Yeah, this isn't just a substantive change. This is probably the most substantive change they can make. I mean, it so far, it's a small sample size. It's cutting like 30 to 40 minutes of game time off. Like, and that is all dead time. Like, that is time when nothing is happening. And I think people are underestimating the difference in what it will feel like to watch a game both live and on TV.
Mike, good seeing you.
It's going to be huge.
We'll talk to you. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
I'm sorry that that I didn't properly communicate to you what I didn't want you to talk about before I showed up.
Any cards or anything? What are you doing?
We're not doing cards.
I've been told that I can't do that anymore.
His punishment for having a stat of the day that we already used and bringing the show.
Those cards were bringing money for charity. It's almost like you guys don't care about charity.
He still brings the money to charity.
Did anyone win any awards yesterday? I saw there was another award show. Any of the shows that you do win awards?
I believe Gene Smart won a SAG award. I should know that.
You should rename that award.
I should know that.
What's the least important award show for you to attend?
The
like,
SAG
which is the one
Awards.
you don't care about at all?
Actor.
There's two. You're probably invited to way too many award shows. Which is the one where you're like, oh, my dog's sick.
You're a SAG. Are you a SAG member, Mike? Because you did.
I am a SAG member.
I used to be one.
I don't know why you did.
Did you ask him that just so you could say
That's
that?
exactly
I feel
right.
like there was no reason for that.
Do you still have your SAG card? You could get health insurance from them, right?
The biggest perk was voting in the SAG Awards, honestly.
You get screeners?
Yes, Gene Smart won a SAG award. Congratulations
Way to go.
to you
What a friend.
and to Gene Smart. What a terrible friend you are, learning that live right now. Thank you, Mike. I thought the whole thing in Hollywood I thought it was important to win all these awards. Isn't it important?
I'm not I'm not an actor. I don't. It doesn't affect me directly, so I'm not interested in it.
Okay, very good.
I mean, they shouldn't name an award SAG in an industry where no one's allowed to have a SAG.
Let's talk about this for a second, because you guys will not shut up about this injection that is doing harm to normal people who have diabetes, but not doing harm to celebrities who are losing weight on a shot. Let's just get this out there.
Oh no one wants to hear about me being vain again. Like let's not run that back.
But Mike can speak to what is happening.
He can't.
He can't?
No, because you never know who might be in your life that's doing this. And Mike, I think Mike genuinely thinks that I have body dysmorphia because of how kind he was to me asking about fillers.
I'm confused as to why this topic keeps coming up on the show. I will say
because I have body dysmorphia.
I think you look great, buddy. Your hair is great and
it's
healthy
coming back.
And shiny. You're a very handsome guy.
Thank you.
You have nothing to feel bad about.
We don't have to bore the audience with this. Just text me privately.
See you later, Mike. Thank you for being on with us. We appreciate it. I want to segue into something that I saw happen this weekend because I was surprised by it. Mike Ryan has been touting the XFL nonstop. I last week said the XFL will certainly succeed in this incarnation because if they've got 1 million viewers, the streaming industry is such that they need 1 million viewers to show up for sports content. But Mike Ryan's enthusiasm evidently lured Billy and Chris Cody, both of whom were wildly unimpressed with the product they consumed.
Horrible
this
product,
weekend.
dog shit. They had to paint the field green. They were playing in a minor league baseball stadium that was empty. It was raining the whole time. Just disaster. And then in another game, the coach was like, I need an entire new roster because these players don't care.
Terrell Buckley. Yeah. That's the best part of it. That's the best part of it. It's just random names pop up.
Yeah.
The best part of the weekend was being like, oh, Terrell Buckley.
I'm not going to defend what happened in Las Vegas. The Rock and Danny should be ashamed of themselves because they put them in a minor league ballpark. The pitch was disastrous. He had kickers slipping and missing chip shots. What it started out as such a promising week, too, because the Thursday night game was incredible between St. Louis and Seattle. And I'm like, guys, it's not a bit. Just give this league a chance. And the unfortunate thing about only having 4 games a weekend is if the NFL has a stinker, your eyes just go to who's in the red zone. You can't cover up the bad games.
They need more teams. They have 4 teams.
Pick a day. Like the XFL can get one day a week and just put all the games that day, and I can look around and find the good one.
So I can have a red
drag
zone
this
channel
out for 4 days a week, 3 days a week. It's too much.
Every game has a standalone window, and they're doing interesting things with they're just doing data collection, because we randomly had a Thursday game on ESPN Plus and FX, and the ratings were actually pretty good when you apply all sorts of context. And Lord knows I was doing that in my jet.
Did FX just get in the game because they have an X in their name?
Yes.
Were they just like in their meetings? They're like, guys, I know it's expensive, but they have an X.
I know no one ever associates them with sports, but hey, 9 o'clock Eastern, Sea Dragons, Battlehawks, let's go.
No, that was the good game, though, Mike.
Yeah, I was begging everybody,
Yes.
just give this league a chance. And immediately after I did that, they threw up 2 pretty terrible games, the worst games in version 3.0 history. Sunday night was pretty good, but I can't make any excuse for what happened in Las Vegas.
Jesus.
It was extremely disappointing.
Ed Mangan-ass field.
It was bad.
Please don't sue us.
It came off small time. It came off small time and amateur, and it came off dangerous too.
The vibes that XFL gives off is you woke up, it's 2 a.m. and there's a game on repeat. Yeah. You know how that, like, just that feel. That's what every XFL game
It's
feels
on
like.
after something. Actually, I was bummed because after that Iowa-Indiana game ended, it was legitimately like the most exciting basketball game of the weekend. ESPN does no post-game show. It just goes straight into an XFL game. And I was sitting there just like kind of stunned for 10 minutes watching it. Like, what? We couldn't even do like a 5-minute recap.
Well, that's a huge part of our rating strategy, is just transition from exciting things, and you're here. and Jack Cohn has the ball, and they're both wearing dark jerseys. Let's go.
Don't hang up. Don't hang up. No. Guys are saying hype.
Don't hang up. Don't hang up.
Football things are happening.
Football. I probably lost Billy forever. If the only chance he was going to give it was that Vegas Viper game, he's lost forever.
I checked in and I was like, I don't know about this. This is not going to last.
Chris Cody, your feeling was exactly the same?
It gives off 2 a.m. and this game's a repeat from like a game that took place last summer.
We had the world by the balls on Thursday.
Did we though? Or were you like
Thursday was great.
Was it
It was
though?
Ben
Thursday was
DiNucci
great.
and AJ McCarron.
live
It was
in
a
like a
shootout.
different
Yeah.
bubble.
Thursday was great.
Yeah.
I live in the world that watches every game. So
I
can
watched
tell
it,
you
and I could say nothing about it.
what, the AJ McCarron game? The comeback?
When you say great, like they played football and the game was kind of
I went
close.
to, we had our
It was 20 to 18,
We'll
right?
take it. Yeah, we'll
20
take
to
that.
18 was the score of the game. Mike, just eat the losses. Billy and Chris Cody tried.
I haven't been eating this loss.
No, Billy and Chris Cody seem to have tried it because you were so enthusiastic.
No, I mean, it was a Saturday.
I'm gonna
or whatever.
be
I was
honest.
Going around seeing what was on.
Didn't give it a ton of time. I'm like, okay, I watched this for 7 minutes and this isn't getting me.
I thought it was in a rain
Ben
delay.
DiNucci's not really doing it for me.
Yeah.
They need to bench him. We need Steven Montez time now.
Well, this is the problem with starting up a new league is you don't have any sort of rivalries or storylines yet or stakes set up like we do with the NFL, which has been around for years and years and years, a century. And we have all sorts of associations with. You could ask a random person off the street to tell you something about the NFL, and they'll know something. And the XFL, it's brand new. It doesn't have any of that, and that's why a lot of people watch sports.
What even is your brand association with the XFL?
Because I guess it was when I was a kid. That
That
was 20 years ago, and you don't have like a guy with a helmet running around out there with a camera trying to film the thing, or someone shouting, "I have a concussion, but I'm going to keep playing because this is the XFL," or a bloke with "He hate me" on the back of his shirt. Like none of those things exist anymore. It's like you're brand loyal to a product that was 25 years ago has no resemblance to the product now.
Well, it's because I think genuinely, for the most part, the product has been really good. I like the innovations that they've made to the game. I think they've made good changes. I like the broadcast, and I think that the football quality, most occasions, is pretty good. I was really bummed to see what happened Saturday because there was a lot of positive momentum and people that were actually giving the league a chance, a genuine one. I can understand why people are out on spring football. You only have so much bandwidth. I get it. But people that gave it a chance liked it. And then Saturday happened. And the most disappointing part about that Saturday performance, from how it looked, from how it felt, to how little people were there, was that it gave everyone the reason to totally check out on it. But if you were not in on this from the very beginning and you had your stigmas with it, you're lost forever.
But I'm in a group chat with you and 12 other people, and it seems like you and
18.
It's like
18
you
other
and
people.
Taylor are into it. It's like in this group chat. If we can't get consensus, yeah,
He's just sucking up. He's early.
I mean, it's like in this world that's like this is a group chat for the XFL. There's only like 2 of 18 that are actually into this. Everybody else is just
you could just like it, Mike. Like it could
That's
just
what-
be a thing you like that no one else likes.
Well,
It's fine.
Other people like it.
you're gonna
Plays football.
You're gonna kick me out of the group chat now.
It seems like no one else likes it.
No,
But you can still like
you know
it.
what?
You can like it. You can
Right,
like things
stop
other people don't
defending it.
like. Yeah.
Please
I
kick
enjoyed
me
it,
out of the
Mike.
group chat.
He wants others. He wants it to be shared. He loves the thing and he wants it
I
to be
enjoyed
shared.
Thursday night's game. I thought it was great.
He likes the
I did.
broadcast.
Yeah.
Big Tom Hart guy.
For me, it's not even a matter of liking it or not. I'll watch football when it's on. It's just I would like there to be a competitive minor league team. I think that would be great for football and for the development of players, but I don't have anything. I don't know anything about the players in this league.
I
really.
also
Like,
never
they
know when
haven't
it's
sold
on.
any narrative to me yet.
Yeah, the schedule, like I said, they're doing a lot of weird things with it. There was a Thursday nighter last week. There isn't a Thursday nighter this week.
Some Sundays are at 7, some
There's
are
a-
at 8, some are in
there's
the
a-
daytime. And
There's now they're doing a triple header on Sunday.
Comcast won't give me the schedule.
Yeah,
It's a whole
well,
nother thing.
I sincerely hope that you guys do give it a chance because
He takes
I think it's
exception
good.
to this.
Moving on to a couple of other
You guys,
things.
let me just ask you genuinely: are you guys proud of how you've talked to me these first 2 hours? Are you?
Let's
Because I
move
think I've
on.
been a good sport about all of it. Just let me know. Anything else?
Let's move on to
It was a bit excessive.
That is the most fun about this. Is
I thought Terrell Buckley. I thought getting reacquainted with
or
Terrell
making X
Buckley
symbols,
was
Dan.
You guys want to talk about Chelsea now? Anything else? You
moving on.
want to tell me how soccer is dying in the country?
It never
I'll
works
get
this
to
way,
it.
Stugotz. The way that it worked this weekend with the Michigan State Iowa game and Iowa coach Fran McCaffrey.
Yeah.
It never works this way because I don't know what funniest thing from the sports weekend is. I don't know what Stugotz's weekend observations are. But I don't imagine that there was anything funnier this weekend than Iowa being down 10 with 1:29 left in the game against Michigan State. They're down 10, Stugotz, with 1:29 left. It is hard to win that game. It is hard for Michigan State to lose that game. But not only does Iowa rally to win the game, they rally to win the game after the single greatest stare down between a coach and an arbiter since Frank Robinson did this a million years ago from the Washington Nationals dugout and just tried to stare a hole through the umpire. Fran McCaffrey, and he was just during a timeout, he's staring at an official, a referee who is holding the ball and staring right back at him. He holds the stare for a good 30 seconds and then steps forward to the official still staring at him because the official is staring straight back at him.
Yep.
And then the official stares straight forward and he steps forward into Fran McCaffrey. And then Fran's team reels off a majestic victory down 10 with 1:29 left because they were fired up by their coach's stare.
That's coaching. I mean, you do what you got to do when Fran McCaffrey did what he had to do. It's an old-fashioned stare down, Dan. But the best part, as you pointed out, is the referee stepping into it and digging in his feet and not blinking and saying, you move closer, I move closer. You stare, I stare. You stare at me, I stare at you. And you know who won? The referee. Now, Fran's team won, but the referee won the stare down because Fran was pulled back into the timeout by an assistant coach. And that ref still stared at Fran McCaffrey.
No one pulled the ref back.
No.
I mean, the ref, though, was not giving off a ton of intimidation. Fran McCaffrey was clearly trying to stare a hole through his head and was, like, intent, whereas the ref was just like, yeah, I stand by my decision. It was very calm about it. But I will say, though...
Ref was laughing at Fran, I feel like.
That's true.
Yes,
That's true.
yes.
But, Dan, you've been calling a lot of people artists lately. Yeah. The guy with the camera underneath the rim that actually got... like in the middle of the two of them and got this shot and was able to track the progress of the two of them inching forward. That gentleman, whoever's in charge of that camera artist.
No.
Now that guy framed the shot perfectly. It looked like we were in an old Western shootout by the end of that video. That was brilliant.
Jessica, you're staring, you're making faces. This is all distinctly and stupidly male.
Why does everyone have to be an
No,
artist?
it's not. I was
is.
actually looking at my computer because Notre Dame won the regular season ACC title yesterday in women's basketball, and I was just reliving it on social media.
I'm happy
I
you
don't-
found such
what-
joy in something that you enjoy watching. It's great. I'm very supportive. And if you think this is a bit, just know that I congratulated her on Instagram.
The most
2 days ago.
sarcastic congratulations.
No, I'm not.
Was that really sincere?
Yeah. Read it.
I'm going to read it right
Read
now.
it. We went to a Notre Dame basketball
I
game,
know.
a women's basketball
Well,
game.
I posted the thing and you said congrats, comma, Jess, period. A lot of punctuation.
What? Perfect practice makes perfect.
But then you said it means a lot to you. I'm happy for you.
Yeah. Well, and keep in mind that was just moments after Florida State ripped my heart out as I was driving to another sporting event.
I have an XFL hypothetical if you want to go back to the XFL for
I really
a moment.
don't.
I was talking to Jer Bear about it over here in the corner. This is going to sound like a ridiculous question at
Fart Bear.
first, but you need to think
From
about
you,
it.
no chance.
Okay. Do you guys think Patrick Mahomes would be as good in the XFL as he is in the NFL? Because there's a drop-off in the line, there's a drop-off in the people he's throwing to, but there's also a drop-off in defense. So do you think he would be as dominant in the XFL as he is in the NFL?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be like Dwight Howard playing in Taiwan?
I don't know.
De'Aaron King is tearing the league apart.
He should be
think Patrick
starting, by
Mahomes
the
would be
way.
all right. He should be.
Yeah.
That's
the one thing I know. Derek King should be
yeah,
starting.
he's better than Te'amu.
I feel like he's going to be getting hit a lot. He's not going to have as much time to throw.
But he's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, but is he Patrick
understand
Mahomes
that,
in the
right.
XFL? Because
He's
he's
gonna,
not
like,
going to have the
he's-
support around him.
But he wouldn't have to exert as much energy to beat the defense.
But he would also be firing no-look passes at players that wouldn't expect it, and they wouldn't catch it. He would throw perfect bullets at receivers. They
Playing
might not
on-
be capable of catching those passes.
They wouldn't expect it.
Not going to have the friendly old man making the
xylophone.
field his specifications.
I just wonder
I ran out of words.
if the Chuggies and the group chats didn't exist, would Mike like this as much as he does? I feel like it's in the pie chart of why Mike likes this. It's the group chats and the Chuggies as much as the.
But it's no one participating in the group chats with him.
It's just him.
It's being
It's
a part
still
of a community.
somehow. I bet you I'll look at it right
you're
now.
not.
That's not a
I
bad
bet you
reason to follow sports.
I bet you I look at it right now and there's 72 texts from this morning. It's one of those group chats.
How
have him
many from
muted?
Mike? How many from Mike?
You know what? I am very proud of what
Exactly.
if I died tomorrow. You know what they're gonna say at my funeral?
What?
He brought people together.
Huh.
I did not know this person.
He was an
You got-
excellent friend.
Group chats will be on your tombstone.
Yeah.
Jessica, I don't
fine with
think
that.
you could keep
When I'm
making.
when I'm gone, don't kick me out of it. Don't kick me out of any.
Sounds
league.
like when you're gone, they're going to say, "Thank God, I don't have to deal with this shit anymore."
I don't.
I feel like that was a little mean. You guys are getting a little meaner as the show goes on. Now people are going to be happy I'm dying. It's just like maybe cool it a little bit.
Not happy you're dying, happy that you're gone.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
I think Mike needs a Xanax.
You're not going to stop, are you?
No, but the problem is I don't feel like she should
It
be.
is fun.
I don't feel it is fun, but I don't feel like she should be allowed to keep doing it after she just burped out a xylophone that didn't make
I'll
any
go to the
sense.
penalty box.
She ran out of X words and just said xylophone. That doesn't work.
It's got an X.
Made up for it, though, with the Xanax joke. That was a good one.
We have reached a really crazed, fervent state of existence in Jets fandom when Stugotz is saying, bleep Joe Klecko.
Enough. I mean, Joe Klecko, congratulations on making it to the Hall of Fame, but enough. I don't want to hear from Joe Klecko. I don't want to hear from Marty Lyons. I don't want to hear from Abdul Salam. I don't want to hear from anyone in the Sac Exchange.
Hold on,
What
Stugotz.
happened?
What? I don't know what's happening here. I don't know what Billy's laughing at. I don't know why Jessica's
The whole
pointing
room
at
is
people.
saying, "Who is Joe Klecko?"
Oh,
Anthony in
really?
the corner said, "Who isn't
Wow.
it? Tom Klecko?" And then Chris says,
I said, is it Ryan Klecko?
Wow.
Okay, so you're gonna have to
Joe
help.
Klecko just made it into the NFL Hall of Fame. He's an all-time great.
"Well, hold on
I
a
mean,
second.
He's
This
a part of the
started.
New York Sac Exchange.
Exactly.
This started out
And,
with."
and most importantly, he's Dan Klecko's dad.
Yes.
What are you, a kleckomaniac?
Thank you.
This started out with you kind of crapping on Joe Klecko, saying you were tired of him until everyone here says we don't even know who it is. And now it's like you're the biggest Joe Klecko fan where you're defending him.
No, I love Joe Klecko. He brings me back to a better time in Jets history. It was a great time. But Joe Klecko spent his entire career being a quarterback away, and now the Hall of Famer is telling the Jets he's a late 70s, early 80s defensive lineman, nose tackle on one of the great defensive lines you'll ever see. Mark Gastineau, Abdul Salam, Marty Lyons, Joe Klecko, the sack exchange. He lived his life being a quarterback away. And now he is asking all the other Jets to live their lives a quarterback away because he doesn't want Aaron Rodgers. I don't want to hear from you.
We have to establish who you're railing against.
Joe Klecko.
People have to understand that the Jets, in Stugotz's 50 years of celebrating them, have had basically three things the entire time. I don't think there's a fourth. It's Joe Namath winning the championship.
That's not one for me.
It's this damn sack exchange. And it's Mark Sanchez and Rex Ryan got us to a couple of AFC championship games. There's no fourth thing. So
now there's Testaverde up 10-3 halftime, Denver Broncos, 1997 AFC championship game. There's some moments. I don't count Namath. You do.
That's right. Okay, fine. Then make that the one and take Namath out because it was before you. Joe Klecko is at the center, literally at the center, of one of the few good things the Jets have had.
Yes.
Joe Klecko is against the Jets having a better quarterback than they've ever had. Joe Klecko is publicly against Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. I could not find definitive reporting. I saw that it was a very Spartan cabin in Oregon, but did Aaron Rodgers get through the 4 days or did he only last 2 days in the darkness? Because I saw conflicting reports that he did not even make it through the 4 days of darkness. What's the truth here? Does anyone know?
I know that the truth is that place had Wi-Fi.
What?
It had Wi-Fi.
Get out of
You
here.
didn't see the place?
You didn't see the pictures?
No.
Oh, you need to look it up, Stugotz. This is a J.J. Watt situation.
Really?
You got to look it up right now.
Okay.
It's him trying. Did he get through it, though?
In the meantime, do what I'm doing, which is watching Dan Klecko receive a touchdown pass from Peyton Manning in the AFC Championship.
It's fun. Joe Klecko.
Stugotz, do you know? Because Aaron Rodgers has emerged from the darkness, and it doesn't seem like you're following this story very closely if you don't know that we've got a J.J. Watt cabin situation, but you do know that Joe Klecko is against the signing of the best quarterback the Jets have ever had. What's the truth on whether he was 2 days or 4 days? Doesn't matter. He only made it halfway through. I would think more people would be making fun of him if it were indeed true that he only made it 2 days through the 4 day experience.
I mean, if it's a total shutdown, he has nothing to tell him how many days have passed outside of the sun.
True. Right.
So maybe it felt like he was in there for 4 days, and he's just like, I've emerged. I'm ready.
If I were in a darkness retreat, I'd be on my 7th meal and be like, all right, 4 days is up. And they'd be like, ma'am, it's noon on your first morning. You have 4 days left. You've finished all your rations.
If you've been deprived of your senses, I do believe you would emerge from the 2 days feeling like it's 4 days. The Jets need a quarterback. Yeah. The Jets have been talking to Derek Carr. Peter King has said publicly, and not just Peter King, who is the name that one NFL executive has been quoted as saying he's not worth the trouble because he brings whatever this stuff is. And I believe Bob McGinn, the longtime reporter in Green Bay, says that the Packers are disgusted with Aaron Rodgers and don't want to have anything to do with Aaron Rodgers anymore, which is much stronger than the reporting I've seen anywhere else.
I mean, it perfectly coincides with his rare drop-off in performance. So when he was winning back-to-back MVPs, all the stuff that is said about Aaron Rodgers is okay, and then he has a 26-12 season, and all the real feelings about Aaron Rodgers. I wonder how much real feelings have been masked about Aaron Rodgers for a decade internally because he's that damn good, and you don't talk about your franchise quarterback in public that way. But the second it's 39, it's injuries, his performance starts to drop off. It's this Aaron Rodgers guy, which is what makes what's happening with Russell Wilson all the more surprising? Because they're just doing it while he's actively playing and still theoretically in the prime of his career. Like all the stories. So I've heard Brian Curtis of The Ringer coin this phrase. It's called the "now they tell us" story, which is after a player leaves a team, all the beat reporters empty their notebook of all the shit that everyone talked about players for a while. For Russell Wilson, it happens as he's still with the Broncos.
Well, let's talk about that story in The Athletic, which reported a number of different things. One of them, and the sourcing on this was flimsy, that he tried to get Pete Carroll fired in Seattle. But the sourcing on the other stuff was less flimsy, Stugotz, that he had his own office in the same area that the coaches are, that some of the same stuff that you heard in Seattle, where the Seattle defense didn't like him very much because they thought he was too embedded with management. What were the group's thoughts on that Athletic story involving Russell Wilson as we get into finicky starlets at a position, Stugotz, that requires a lot of ego? And I do understand how it is that some of these guys tend to think, given what they're doing for a living,
Right.
given that it's hard to do, given that they become very celebrated very fast everywhere they go, I do understand why Russell Wilson would get to a place where he would think that he's management, that he can run the team, that it's his power.
Well, if someone's willing to give him that stature, and the Broncos clearly were, then of course.
But Stugotz, so were the Packers and everyone else. And when you have a talent of that magnitude, the football construct is such that they don't make any one player that important, but it doesn't mean that they're all not going to notice. Wait a minute. I see how much power LeBron has. It's not like they're not going to notice. It took Tom Brady forever to notice it, but he's like, bleep this. I'm the one that's winning here. Like the organization keeps getting the credit for it, but I go to a place. I'm great. Look how valuable I am. Why is it that you're going to confine me within a salary cap? I understand why all of these guys would get enormous egos. What they're doing is really hard. Having success at it is really hard.
But Russell Wilson is the rare player who actually wants to be management. He almost seems like he would prefer it. He seems like he would crush at a Harvard Business School panel. He would love to be like a leadership guy. And he's apparently in this Athletic story, it said that he had quotes on the wall and that he had an open door policy into his office.
That was my favorite detail.
Yeah.
An open door policy. You know what else is an open door? You sitting at your locker. The teammates were genuinely confused as to what that meant when the quarterback said, "Hey, come on up anytime, talk to me." Open door policy. What? You're not in your locker?
I wouldn't be surprised if he released an org chart within the Denver Broncos player hierarchy. All the stuff that people hate about corporate life, it appears though Russell Wilson loves it.
You'd love to play for that guy.
Yeah, probably.
You guys saw that Richard Sherman sort of says snidely that if he had to get a hold of Russell Wilson, you have to go through his manager. There was a disconnect. Russell Wilson didn't mind showing everybody, yeah, I'm the highest paid. I'm the most important. I'm the one who's allowed to be on the second floor with the coaches. The rest of you are not allowed up here.
He's got the giant contract extension as well to drive the wedge between himself and his teammates. But again, he's like normally this stuff happens. If all this stuff came about him in Seattle, fair enough. He's in the middle of a contract extension with the Denver Broncos, and they gave up a ton of picks. They have no choice, the Denver Broncos do, but to make this work with Russell Wilson. And yet, there are stories coming out in The Athletic and in other places about all the stuff that Russell Wilson has done in Denver and behind the scenes that have turned him into a very unlikable figure within that team.
Do you think that Russell Wilson has like those motivational posters on his wall, like it's like an eagle and it just says excellence?
Yeah. And a little cat on the rope that says hang in there.
He has a world's best boss mug.
There's at least once misappropriated Winston Churchill quote hanging on his wall.
Yeah.
Or Albert Einstein.
The photo of the people working on that New York skyscraper having lunch back in the 1920s. That's on there.
That was dangerous, huh? The way they used to build skyscrapers.
That was the Empire State Building.
There are more than one photo, right, of guys having lunch on a beam suspended 120 feet.
He's got
120
the ball
stories in the sky.
Shout out to unions.
He's definitely got the ball clackers, the one that goes like.
But what?
It's an abacus.
The
no,
report.
That's not an abacus. What is that called, Dan? The ball thing where it goes.
Oh, just like the two swinging balls?
Yeah.
Not an abacus.
A pneumatic.
Truck nuts.
Pneumatic.
He's got a Zen garden.
The quotes were what when they said, because this was I don't remember who was quoted in the story as saying he's got a wall of quotes. It's not posters, although I like your way of doing it better. It's a whiteboard. And somebody was quoted as saying it's like seeing the spilling of Russell's mind on a wall.
Oh God, no.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott, Russell Wilson. By the way, the device that Mike was talking about is called
Newton's Cradle.
Newton's Cradle. Yeah.
Yeah,
what did you Google? What did you Google to get
Sir
it?
Isaac Newton.
You Googled Sir Isaac Newton.
.com. I'll tell you what I Googled. Steel balls that go back and forth.